Today is the 14th of September and I have Andy here doing a one-to-one workshop with me. So we make sure we are distance apart. So we've been through the fundamentals. Let me just show you what we've done so far this morning and show you the content of the work. If you hold this one and show it. This is a cryptomeria which Andy has made. And this is our standard larch which we've made. So in the morning we did these two trees and two maples. And now in the afternoon session, we're going to do something very, very adventurous and a bit more advanced and complicated. And we were walking in our growing fields and this is what we came across. This is Squamata juniper and it's got a beautiful thick trunk. Look at it. And we're going to work on this, and if time permits, we're going to work on another quite complicated. I think this one is only an air layering. You see, this sphagnum moss is still here. So this was an air layering of a bigger tree. So we're going to make a bonsai with this. We will decide what to do. So all this beautiful flaky bark. And the other tree we're going to work on, if you try and lift it out of the pot, you just pull it out. Okay. This is the other Squamata juniper, and in the space of 2 hours we will do something with it. Look at that beautiful trunk there. Look at that beautiful trunk. So we're going to do two nice bonsai with this. So let's begin with this one. This one is relatively simple. What we usually do, we scrape away a bit of this, get some of these weeds out. If I give you a rake, the first process is always to tease away around the base to see where the roots go down, because that will help me discover the true front or the preferred front. But the advantage of this tree is that it's got beautiful trunk. That trunk would be, this tree would be at least about 25-30 years old. And most junipers, if you're patient enough, they do bud from old wood. A lot of people think, Peter Chan doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't look at that. These are all new shoots growing from the old wood. So if you're patient enough, they will produce young branches. So you don't have to be worried. Now, I'm not too bothered about repotting this. This is best left to maybe February, but we'll style the top because we have to do some serious cutting of roots to get it into a bonsai pot, but we will not do it today. But the main thing is to style it today. So if we look at this tree, I was teaching Andy, if you turn it around, you tell me which you think is the front.
This is the test now.
Yeah, okay. There's always one side that looks nicer than the other.
I think so.
Okay, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's there. So let us put a little marker, and then that will remind us where the front is. So the marker, and all of these little stubby bits we're going to use for making driftwood. So that is where the front is. These can all be made into bits of driftwood. So that's going to be a branch. This is going to be a branch. So you do get trees in nature which are just tall and straight with just some wispy branches. See, that can be made into driftwood. So all we need to do is a bit of wiring. Okay, now this one, we can wire it so it's down. So now that your wiring is quite good, I'll get you to do a bit of wiring. Now let me just choose the right grade of wire. Now to bend this down, I think we're going to link it to this. So we're going to use this stubby bit as the anchor. That will eventually be a bit of driftwood. Okay, maybe don't confuse it, because when you're coming to make the driftwood, you don't want to block it completely. So that's my gym pliers. Okay, I'll take it to the back so it's not visible. You know, everything should be a bit discreet, so I will anchor. So there's two branch principle is still being used. So this is one branch, which is just the anchor, and then this is the other branch. So up to here. Don't need to wire it that tight. So if you wire this out, when you get to the top, don't wire that tight.
Yep.
So the variety is Juniper Squamata, and the Myra is called Myers Juniper.
Okay.
Okay, so this one can be placed down like that. Unusual to keep a low branch, but it is useful. And now we can get a leader from this. Possibly that may be a bit too tall. So we will wire these. So again, we will wire this and this, these two together using the same grade of wire. So you're going to wire this and this together.
Yep. Okay.
So take it from the back.
Yeah,
always,
so you,
it doesn't show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you have enough on one side and judge the length of the wire you need on each side. So you don't run short. See, you left too much on the left. You won't need this so long on this side, you see?
Be a bit
So,
more on the other side, yeah?
Also on the other side. Always judge the amount of wire. Keep it tight to the trunk. Keep it tight. Don't show daylight. Really tight when you transition. Otherwise it'll flop around. Try not to trap the foliage. This is the first time Andy's wiring. He did some wiring in the mornings, but he's not really done any wiring before, so
Okay.
it's very good. So again, remember, we kick it back a little bit like this, kick it back and then cut off the excess. Do this here, use it, the pliers is useful.
Okay.
Kick it back and then the excess you can cut off. Use the tip of the plier. See how you use it like that, that's useful. Then cut it over there. No, that's not a wire cutter, that's
That's the,
yeah, you can use a wire cutter to cut it here anyway. Okay, now that it's wired, let's position it and see what it looks like. So we're going to wire it down like this here, like that. So that's how it looks. This will do is breaking from the wood. I'll keep it in case I need it. This also I won't get rid of. Now I could even end the tree here, you know, don't let it grow taller than that. Or I could grow it a little taller over here. Or I could even use that and have the top. So there's so many choices. I could end it there and then gin the rest of this. Let's do a variation. Now these, there are 3 branches here, or in fact 4. If you wire these 2 and do those 2 here, now using this wire,
You're going to do these two?
yeah, they're 4 there, so very convenient. So you do this one. See, I'm judging how long the wires, you know,
Yep.
so that you know where you're going, no wastage. Do this and that. These great big cryptomerias and sequoias that you find in America, they grow in this fashion. Tall, straight trunks with foliage just like this at the top. So, we just only put like 3 pieces of wire, so we can either have the tree the whole height, or if you don't want it the whole height, we can keep it like this. So there are different choices, you know. You can do this or that, and I think we could do that and that.
That'd look good, Peter, wouldn't it?
More.
Yeah, don't you think?
Take it to the top, yes.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. Okay, I'll get you to wire these 2.
Yep.
And so this is where, when you're faced with a choice, you always have to take some decisions. So we'll We're going to wire this one and wire the one at the top. So this one we're going to go up the trunk a couple of loops
Yeah.
and go
And
to the
then
top.
pick this one up.
So that's the amount of wire. I try to always gauge the amount of wire I need so that there's no wastage. Okay. Okay, so that will go to the top. See, I can gauge how much has gone to the top, and this
Yeah.
goes here, so I know roughly that. So you're going to wire this. So we anchor this. Once this is anchored, then take a couple of loops here and then go up
Yeah.
to the top.
That stuff.
And that gives you a very nice crown. Doesn't look like you've just scalped it, so. So we haven't even done any driftwood at the top. I was going to driftwood, but I don't think you need it. These will all be driftwood, you know.
Yeah.
And then with the junipers, and then if you like to carve, you know, with some Dremel, you can carve that, make it thinner. So rather than have a thick stub there, you can reduce the thickness of this. So this is the exciting sort of work. This is called a branch splitter or root cutter, so you can reduce the amount of wood here, so make it thinner to blend there. So that's only like a point of detail. You can take your time to do that. Do you do any carving, wood carving? You can use buy a little Dremel or even a router with router bits. You can carve into this. So you can do a bit of carving there. You do get trees like this in nature, absolutely like this, like a grape. If it is very flaky, you can literally do this. You see? It's the way they expand. As it grows thicker, the bark flakes off to give it room for expansion and growing. So the old bark comes off. But don't do this with pine trees, because the craggy bark on pines is beautiful. But with junipers and cupressus, this is the normal thing. And underneath that, because this is a true juniper, you get a beautiful red color. So you take that off. It's almost like cinnamon bark. And then with a wire brush, if you brush it, you look at a lovely red color. I've shown it many, many times on our YouTube videos. So that's the sort of thing we get. So this sort of effect you will find on natural trees. If you go to the countryside, you watch the trees, they are like this. So I wouldn't do more than that. So we've created the image of this tree. I could have ginned this, that means make driftwood with that, but this is a very nice top, so there's a minimum of gin. It still looks very much like a nice tree, so thinning this a little more, because we got another tree to do. I don't want to spend too much time, but you can thin this a little more. See, and like this, you take that off, and make it blend with that. And then if you wish with a Dremel, you can carve it. Like that. So that's beautiful. But don't remove all the bark. It's only this little side you do to thin that. So as I said, I don't want to put it in a proper bonsai pot, but you could put it in a training pot, because it looks better, more like a bonsai rather than a round flower pot. If you get one of these plastic training pots, at least it looks more like a bonsai. See like that? Let it grow like that for now. And then in February, you can reduce the root ball. So you can do that. Huh?
Right, okay.
So that's finished. How long did that take? You know, didn't take long at all. So let's put that down and we'll start on the other one. This is quite heavy, so I'm going to take some of the soil off. It'll be more often. Don't worry if it goes on the floor. We'll clean it up afterwards. So this is just grown in ordinary garden soil. No special bonsai compost. There's a lot of rotted manure in this. So this black soil, we have used our rotted leaf mold. Okay, now we can put it on the turntable. It's easier to manage. Now we're going to work on this tree. Now the same thing again. We'll turn the tree around and you will decide which is going to be the front, which is going to be the back. This has a variable branch. This wood, but not this.
Yep.
So if we don't need that, we can make driftwood with it. So to make gins or driftwood, I will repeat again for those who've never seen it. You make a partial, if I want to make a short gin or just small driftwood here, I make a partial cut sloping away from the trunk about half or third of the way into the trunk. Can you see? Can you come close, Jack? Have a look. See, I'm going to cut a sloping cut halfway into the wood, like so. Okay, so that initiates the cut. And then we are going to break it. So if you, at that point, put your finger, then we snap it then.
Snap it, yeah?
Yeah, pull it forward, snap it, and then pull the wood the other way. No, not this way.
Which way?
No, this way, towards.
All right.
Like so.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, that way. That's it. Pull it. Careful, don't hurt your arm. Okay, we can use some.
Don't hurt the tree.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so that's that short driftwood done there. So that one we can manipulate with another tool. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So this is going to be, this is the gin we've made, the driftwood. Huh?
Yeah.
So that's how we make driftwood. Huh? So that's going to be driftwood rather than this. And these also you can make driftwood. If you want a long gin, you can practice doing gin. Like so, you make a partial cut, and then you break it towards the side you want. So you see the torn side. So if this is the front, you can see the torn side from here.
Yeah.
Like so. So you can refine it and play around at home to refine it. So this is going to be nice like this. So this is going to be a branch coming down. This can also be a branch coming down. So we've got quite a few what we call usable branches. So the entire tree is virtually there. Now this is a bit thick. Now why don't we make a bit of driftwood there? Okay, I'll partially cut this way. Now you can cut into here. You can use a branch cutter, cut a third of the way into that, away from the thing, and then snap it.
Into this one?
From the back.
From the back,
because we're tearing from the front. Sloping away from the trunk.
Sloping away that way?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right, that's right. Partly into it, just nick it, and then maybe if with the pliers you may find it easier. And then you're literally snapping. Snap it and pull it, That's it. See, that's how you make the driftwood. So you get torn effect, you know. And then when the wood is live, the wood just comes away. You see the bark? If you crush the bark, use the pliers to crush the bark, and then the bark just peels off. See?
Yeah.
The bark peels off. This is what the gin pliers use for. This is called gin pliers.
Right, okay.
So we make gin with. So this tree, we've created a beautiful trunk line, a natural S shape. So you can refine the gin in your own time.
Okay.
So this can also be gin. You can do that at home. This gin, maybe not so long. So you got these branches to play around with. This is very thick. Squamata juniper used to be very, very popular in the 70s and early 80s. It's fallen into disuse or not so popular because the foliage is very hard to keep in pristine condition. You get a lot of brown dye back, but as long as you keep it clean, it's a very satisfying juniper to work with. Beautiful trunks. Lovely flaky bark as well. Okay, let's return it to the front. Let's see what it looks like from the front. So this is a pan which is lying flat like this, so that's how we organize it. And this you can shorten it if you wish. You can extend that wire. So that is the pad. This is what we call the pad, coming down like that. We can even do this. You see how elegant that looks?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Lovely.
Yeah. And now this and this. Now this is thick. We still use, we will use this. Split it into smaller bits like so. And if you go further down, you can split it more, and then you can pull away like that. So the object is to try and get it like a point, like so.
Right.
That's what you're trying to do. Like that.
Very good.
Be careful, don't wiggle the tool when it's in the wood, you break the tip. And the Japanese tool, however the tool is, if you wiggle the tool, it will break.
Well, the tool will break or the tree.
No, the tool will break.
Right.
Now, many people blame the tool, but they don't blame themselves. Same applies to a branch cutter. Don't wiggle the tip once it's in the wood. Cut it clean. So you have great fun with it. So once you've done it roughly, you can then use Teemill water to cut it. Use it pliers or whatever. You can use as another. I have this. Yeah, like that. You can use just to drag it, pull it out. Yeah, that's it. So there's another tool you can even just use origin part and roll it back like that. You see?
Yeah.
You can roll it back. So cut little slivers and roll it back till you get a point.
Okay.
Okay, that's what we can finish off. Okay. So I suggest now we can use a mica pot. Mica pots are not expensive. Like this one is only like 49 or 59. Similar ceramic pot will cost you about 90. So can you lift it and you put it and just test it? I don't think we have to put much more water. Yeah, perfect. See, we have hardly cut any root. Hardly any root. Maybe twist it a little more so that put it in again. You don't have to tease the root ball a little more.
Yeah, you want it
Tease it a little more, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it knocks all the salt and then you tie it. Tease it and I prepare the pot, I put some wine, you tie the tree in, and then at least it looks like a bonsai.
Try again.
Yeah. Now because there's this, I think the balance will be better more this side.
Oh, so you do it at 9? Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't go to one side. Yeah.
Yeah, the positioning of the tree in the pot
Yeah.
is quite important. So we haven't cut any root, have we? Nothing.
Nope.
We just rearrange the root. We put some soil in, maybe even like that.
Right, yeah.
And then we can just fill the original soil in. So here we are, we've potted the tree up in a mica pot. I haven't cut many of these roots which are protruding. That will be done next spring or the spring after. But we haven't cut any roots, so we just put it in a biggish mica pot. And there we have this tree. So considering this is Andy's first day of wiring, he hasn't done bad. You could see the shape, you could identify the front. So you pleased with this?
Fantastic. Love it. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Okay.
Great start to collection, eh?
Yeah, okay, good. And taught
Thank
you
you.
how to make gin. We taught you lots of things. Wiring,
did.
ginning, lots of. This is just in, I would say, only an hour and 20 minutes we've made 2 trees. Beautiful Squamata junipers. Not a lot of work, so the gins have got to be finished. And what character? They must be at least 70 centimeter tall, that one, and this one at least about that, with lovely thick trunk. Look at the character of the trunk. And the gins are going to be refined, so I'll leave Andy to play with it and experiment with making gins. So there's scope for carving. So I hope you've had a good time, Andy.
Superb.
Okay,
Thanks,
so
Peter.
this will be on YouTube.
Brilliant. Well done.
Okay, thank you.